Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well on this Wednesday. And Pete Carroll just gave us a bunch of injury related updates. We just got word on a lot of things from Pete Carroll. So, got a lot of ground to cover, got a lot of stuff to talk about, got a lot of stuff to dive into here. It's mostly good news, honestly, or the closest thing to good news that we can get, I would say. Um, it's not completely clean, but given the information that we had, I think we're in a pretty good state right now health wise. So hopefully we get through this week and things are still the same or better even. So we're looking pretty good. That's why I kept saying as the injuries were piling up during the preseason and training camp, don't worry about it that much. These are minor injuries that we can work through, and better to have them now than later. Now, it's possible to have them now and later, but just understand that you're going to have them at some point. No team is going to go through a football season without ever getting injuries. So, is what it is, and the is that we have is much better than the other possible ises, I think. So, with that being said, let's take a look at some of the updates from Carroll. Let's start with the really good news, or maybe the most concerning news, depending on your perspective. JSN expected to play against the Rams. So JSN is expected to play. Pete didn't even come out and say, oh, he's going to practice, but we haven't made a decision yet. No, he actually said, we think he's going to play week 1. Now, if he can do it, he can do it. And I got no problem with him doing it if he's actually physically capable of it, of course. I don't believe in holding him out, even though he's 100% or capable of playing at a high level, just because it's the Rams. If he's like 95% or 92% or something like that, that's one thing. But if he's actually fully capable of playing at a high level and there's no real risk of re-injuring the hand, or excuse me, wrist, then I got no issue with it. So hopefully that's the case. But I'm going to be excited to see him. I'm going to be excited to see what he can do. So great news here. Hopefully it's being driven by JSN's actual state of physical health and not JSN demanding to be allowed to play week 1 or the team desperate to get him out there or anything like that. And I have a pretty good feeling that it's being driven by the right things. So great news there. JSN expected to play against the Rams. We also got positive updates on Mike Morris and Derek Hall. Both guys are going to practice today, so that bodes very well to their ability to play week 1. And at this point, given the fact that they practiced Monday as well, I would say they will probably at least be active. So I don't know how much both those guys are going to play, but Mike Morris especially, we kind of need him to do a little something, right? The defensive line is so thin. Derek Hall, I mean, we got a good edge room, so we don't necessarily have to have Derek Hall right now. But Mike Morris, yeah, he's got a significant role to play on this team. So really good news there. And he was a guy I thought we were going to lose for about a month. I thought he was going to be out a while. So that is great news on the front of Mike Morris. Awesome stuff there. Also practicing today is Devin Witherspoon. And that's another big one. Practice on Monday. Apparently didn't really re-injure it, or not, they didn't discover anything devastating because he's going to practice today. Now, Pete did not say whether or not Witherspoon would play. He didn't offer the same confidence that he had about JSN. And he did say they're going to have to be careful so he doesn't re-injure the hamstring. They're going to need to get through the week and then decide, which tells me that he probably won't play against the Rams. But the fact that he has a chance at all is very good. And at the end of the day, the goal, I think, is to get him ready for week 2 against the Lions when we're actually going to need him. So great news there as far as I'm concerned. I'm happy with it. I'm just glad that we got it out of the way. Hopefully we got it out of the way early. I know it's going to hurt his rookie season. I understand that, and that sucks. I wish he had gotten to have a full training camp and preseason. But injuries are going to happen to pretty much every NFL team. It's just inevitable. It's unavoidable. So rather now than later. And again, hopefully it's not something where it plagues us the entire year from the start to the finish. So Good news on Witherspoon overall. I think the fact that he's practicing 2 practices in a row is a positive indicator. We also finally got an update on McIntosh. Not yet ready to return. He is making progress per Carroll, which means that he didn't sustain an injury that's going to be like requiring surgery, I guess, at least. So that's good news given the fact that I hadn't heard a thing about Kenny McIntosh since the injury happened, which made me concerned that it was like he tore something massive and was going to be out for the year. But sounds like he is working his way back, and we got a chance to get him back at some point later this year, which I think is going to be valuable. I think that at the very least, he's going to have some stuff to do on special teams. So at least we finally heard some kind of update on Kenny McIntosh. So I'm going to qualify that as good news, even though, I mean, you look back at the original injury, they said it was going to be like 2 weeks before he got back, and it's been way more than that. At this point, given the fact that we hadn't heard anything, this is good news. All right. We also, not necessarily injury related, but we did get a little bit of an update from Carroll about the Trey Brown and Michael Jackson situation. Even though Trey Brown was listed as the starter on the initial depth chart, he did specify that they're still battling to win that left side cornerback job. So, not yet resolved. Obviously, Trey Brown played a lot better in the preseason, and Jackson had a noticeably bad preseason. But I keep trying to tell people that I don't think that this coaching staff is necessarily going to make a decision purely based off the preseason when Jackson was apparently great in training camp and he was pretty good last year. So don't be surprised if Jackson gets involved at some point. I'm starting to believe that Trey Brown is somebody we like better. He is the guy that we drafted. Jackson was somebody that we picked up off another team's waiver wire pile. Maybe it wasn't even a waiver wire situation. We might have just picked him up free and clear off the free agency pool. I can't remember for sure. But it is indicative of the fact that we think Trey Brown is better, and the preseason may have given them enough confidence to say, yeah, we're going to run with that now. So still up in the air a little bit here. Also, positive update on Daryl Taylor, good to play as well. Pretty expected, but the fact that he didn't start practicing until Monday meant that there was at least some concern. But I'm going to definitely be excited about that one. That means the whole edge room's ready to go, people. We thought we had some issues in the edge room going into this week 1 game, like we weren't going to have enough guys. Now we got all 5. We got 5 edge rushers healthy and ready to play right now. So definitely good news there. Daryl Taylor, I know he's going to have a diminished role this year, but he is going to have an impact on this season for sure. Also, Carroll mentioned that Cam Young is ready to go. That was implied in this statement right here. This is the Greg Beltreat who was talking about Mike Morris, and he said that with Morris and Young coming back from injury, the Seahawks don't need to go out and get more depth on the interior defensive line. So therefore, we can derive from that Cam Young must be ready to play as well. I'm not expecting a ton from Cam Young because he missed a lot of time this offseason, and he's a kind of a fringe player anyway. He's a very limited in what he can do. But having him out there for even 15 snaps a game is going to take the load off some of these guys. We need that. That is important. So I'm happy about Cam Young, happy about Mike Morris, even though I think we all understand they're not going to have a massive impact on this team. We're going to be leaning heavily on Miles Adams to provide a blow for guys like Mario Edwards and Draymond Jones. So, hey, good to have the rookies back regardless. We also got an update on Jordan Brooks, and this is what leads me to believe that Devin Bush is going to start, at least initially. Jordan Brooks is ready to play, according to Carroll here, but they may have to manage his reps depending on circumstance, and it will be a bit of a feel thing for them to manage. So, this being the case, hopefully the team is wise enough to say, let's activate Jordan Brooks, but let's not put him out there unless we feel like we have to. Let's give Devin Bush a chance. Devin Bush had a good preseason. He was a blue chipper coming out of college, one of the better interior linebackers in recent history to enter the draft. Very talented player who's just had a long trek back from that injury. Let's give Devin Bush a chance, and let's take it easy with Jordan Brooks here. He's already come back from this ACL tear faster than anybody imagined. Let's not push it more than we have to. And look, if we go out there and Devin Bush is playing awful football, then maybe you reconsider. And it's nice to have Brooks there if that's the case. But let Devin Bush get an opportunity while Brooks is finding his footing. So either way, even if Brooks does start, it sounds like Bush is going to get some reps too. So both guys are going to get an opportunity to show who is better right now. I understand that Jordan Brooks, if both guys are 100% healthy, is probably a little bit better. But Devin Bush is probably better than 89% Jordan Brooks, you know? And Jordan Brooks, I don't even know if he's 89%. Who knows? He didn't get to play it all in the preseason. He's gotten very few reps in training camp, so who knows? But decent news there. We also got a little bit on Jamal Adams, and we already know Jamal Adams is not going to play this week. We've already been informed of that, so this doesn't really contain any new information, but he is participating in walkthroughs, not yet participating in practice, so a little bit of a longer trek back for him than it was for Brooks. But Jamal Adams, the hope is that he can practice next week, according to Pete. So if they're still hoping about that, then I wonder about his availability for week 2. This might be a few-week thing. I wonder if the team is going to last second throw him on the short-term IR and just say, don't worry about the first month, just come back when that initial 4-week period's over. But the fact that they're still not sure that he can practice next week kind of has me a little bit wary of him coming back week 2. That being said, though, they did say that they think he will get on the field next week. So you got to give him a chance at least. And Pete was very positive about the shape that he's in. Pete was very positive about his state when he gets back. So let's take our time with this, and hopefully it all works out well for him and we get a good year. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. That's the updates.